Look what just happened to Obamacare after McCain voted to stop Trump's plan. For years it has seemed that the Senator John McCain from Arizona has stood in the way of helping the American people. For example, who could forget the time that McCain argued for amnesty with his good buddy Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina? Or, how about the other moment when he called Senator Rand Paul's 12-hour filibuster of CIA nominee John Brennan absurd and cheapened? Or, how about the possible ties that McCain has to George Soros and terrorist organizations around the world? So, is it a real surprise that John McCain voted no on the repeal of Obamacare? It is pretty safe to assume that the answer is no, and now because of that vote, Obamacare is still here, and it is about to get a whole lot worse. When Barack Obama sold the premise of Obamacare to the American people, he did his best to tie on the heartstrings of everyone. Obama paraded the elderly, the single moms, and individuals with tragic illnesses on stage to sell this horrible plan. Obama promised the American people that they would see a decrease in their premiums, everyone would be covered, and of course, it would be affordable. However, it did not take too long for people across the country to realize what a farce that was. During Donald Trump's campaign, he promised that he would get rid of this pox on all our houses, and he has not wasted any time in doing so. Sadly, there are those in the GOP who are standing in the way of this disastrous plan, and because of that, there are families across the country that are about to face a rude awakening. There are reports trickling in that health insurance companies in numerous states looking to hike their premiums by at least 30%. Somehow that does not sound like it is affordable at all. Here is more from Fox News. Top health insurance companies in numerous states are looking to hike premiums by double digits, some by roughly 30% or more, for Obamacare plans in 2018, according to newly released figures that could light a fire under stalled efforts on Capitol Hill to fix the program. A lot of us have lost focus on the fact that the system we have doesn't work, White House Budget Director Mick Mulvaney told Fox and Friends on Wednesday, referring to the proposed premium hikes. The Wall Street Journal reported that major insurers in Idaho, West Virginia, South Carolina, Iowa, and Wyoming are pitching premium hikes averaging 30% or higher. Other states also could see double-digit hikes, including New Mexico, Tennessee, and Texas, while elsewhere, insurers are eyeing smaller increases. The requests are preliminary and could change before insurers strike 2018 agreements with federal officials in the fall. But they underscore concerns about Affordable Care Act plans becoming increasingly unaffordable, as Republicans struggle to come up with an Obamacare replacement bill that can pass Congress. Their latest legislation, the so-called skinny repeal, failed by a single vote in the Senate last week, leaving lawmakers split over whether to move on and tackle issues like tax reform or regroup and try again. President Trump is urging Republicans not to give up, and even some Democrats have started to float ideas for shoring up the law, without scrapping it. I do think it's important that they continue to work on healthcare, Mulvaney said. Obamacare is still broken. It was just as broken today as it was last week, in fact, more so. However, while the premium hikes could energize GOP efforts to upend the Affordable Care Act, they also could fuel Democrats' criticism over how Republicans are handling the repeal-replace debate. The Journal reported that insurers are concerned about Trump's threat to halt payments to the industry that in turn brings down costs, as well as whether Republicans will continue to enforce the individual mandate to buy insurance. According to the Journal, one insurer in Montana linked the bulk of its proposed 23% increase in those two concerns. For years, people have said that once this plan was implemented it would be incredibly difficult to remove, and they were right. Obamacare was set up to fail in order to usher in a single-payer system similar to that of Europe. The liberal elites want absolute control of the American people, and one way to achieve that is to control their health care. The government controls who you see, what medications you can take, and if you live or die. That was perfectly depicted in the heartbreaking case of Charlie Gard, who was essentially sentenced to death by government officials in England. This little baby's entire healthcare plan was in the hands of the government, and they, not his parents, decided what was best for him. And that is exactly what they want here, and it must be stopped before it is a reality. Rhinos such as McCain must be voted out before they can do any further damage to America. President Trump is doing what he can, but he needs help, and that is where we come in. The 2018 midterm elections are just around the corner, and there is much work to do. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe Breaking News 365 channel. Goodbye and see you again.